astronauts? Are you ready to be entertained with pointless jibber-jabber and senseless small talk? If so, then you have come to the right place. It's the Todd Cook Show, starring Todd Cook, and featuring music by local and national artists. Now, broadcasting from his garage, here is Todd Cook.
Welcome to the best podcast on the internet. You are listening to the Todd Cook Show. I am Todd Cook. You are here. I am here. You are listening. I am talking. It's time to get things started here. I messed up the introduction there. That's not exactly how I planned on doing it, but it does not matter. It's too late to correct it now because this show is recorded live in my basement in Wichita, Kansas. You're listening to episode 2-8 of the Todd Cook Show. That is season 2, episode 8 of the Todd Cook Show. And tonight I am flying by the seat of my pants. And I mean literally flying by the seat of my pants. Normally, when I come down here to record this podcast, I usually have some notes with me, a few things that I type out on a piece of paper, sometimes 2 sheets of paper, that I can look at, and just to keep the show going, to make sure I do everything in the correct order. I give myself some notes, even jot in there at this point, take the commercial, play a commercial, and play the song here. But tonight I have nothing like that. I got a few little things written down, but really no notes whatsoever. And so I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and who knows what this show will be like. It might be totally different than the rest of the shows. It might be just like the other shows. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that it will be a great show, because the Todd Cook Show always is a great show. On this program, I'm just going to tell you about the yard sale that I just recently had. And if some of you listened to the first incarnation of the Todd Cook Show back in 2009, you might remember that I did a show back then about a garage sale or yard sale back then as well. And the reason was that back then I had a garage sale, and now I'm going to do another show about that because I had another garage sale just this last weekend. Actually, I called it a yard sale, but mainly I was just too lazy to write the word garage on my signs, and the word garage has 2 syllables. Yard is a lot easier to say and a lot easier to write on the sign, and so I just went with yard sale. But to tell you the truth, most of the stuff we had was out in the yard, and less was in the garage. One of the main reasons is the garage that I have doesn't have real good lighting in it. I thought about getting some lamps out there to help brighten things up a bit. There's only a couple windows, but the light doesn't really brighten it up that much. And the one light that I do have is up ahead, but the problem with that one light is when you open up the garage door, the garage goes up onto the roof, the ceiling, and it covers up that light. So most of the stuff we had was outside, and but we had I'd like to say we had a good time. And I was actually going to open this story by talking about how garage sales are fun, and then later tell you that I was just kidding about being fun and how much it really stunk to be out there. But I'll just tell you right off the top, this garage sale was no fun. And I'm going to explain that to you. I also got some music by a band called 42 Decibels. And I'm not going to tell you too much about them right now, but let me just say this. If you like AC/DC, you'll probably like this band. I listened to a few of their songs, and I picked out one for you, and I'm going to play that later, so you don't want to leave. I also might tell you a little bit about the 4th of July. This is the first show that I've done since the 4th of July. And this is one of the reasons I'm a little late getting this episode up. Normally it'd be up already, but as I'm recording this, we had the 4th of July, we had a yard sale. There were so many things going on. I just did not take the time to record the podcast until just now. But here we go. We're going to get at it right now. One other thing, too, I want to let everybody know that I've been talking about this for a long time, but I think I'm going to actually try to set a date, or at least a rough date, about when this is going to happen. I talked about this possibility shortly after my show began, about the possibility of me doing a live show, meaning a show that people can listen to as I'm recording it, and theoretically, and I say theoretically in quotes, be able to call into the show and talk to me live as I'm doing my show, just like a radio DJ would. I can say, all right, we got somebody on the phone line here. Let's go to Susie in Atlanta, Georgia. And Susie in Atlanta, Georgia will be able to talk to me live and ask me a question about my show. And also maybe have a chat room open up where people can ask me live questions while I'm on the air as well. I've been talking about this for quite a while, but I think I'm going to try to set a rough date. I'm going to make sure that it happens in August. It is now July, so within the next month, I'm hoping to be able to do a live show. I've got the ability to do it. I'm confident I can do it. I've done a couple of dry run-throughs to make sure that it will work the way I'm hoping it will, and I think we can do that. So I'm going to say July. I'd say a little sooner than that, but I got a vacation coming up. I'm leaving at the end of this month to take a week-long vacation going up to Indiana. My mom and dad still live there. I'm going to go see them and let them see me and my wife and their 2 grand boys. And so that's going to be happening at the end of July. And also my 20-year class reunion. I got my 20-year class reunion coming up. It's been 20 years since I graduated from high school, and I got my class reunion coming up. It's going to be in Warsaw, Indiana, and I'm in Wichita, so I got a long drive ahead of me coming up here in the next couple weeks. But I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure when I'm done with that class reunion and I come back, I'll have quite a bit to talk about there as well. Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. So I guess I'm going to get started on this show. Yard sale. I'm sure a lot of you out there have had yard sales before. I've had, I believe this is really my second one. My wife and I did one a few years back, as I mentioned already, and this is really my second experience of having I'm going to call it a yard sale. And one of the main reasons we did it, like I said, we had this little vacation trip, going up to Indiana and back, and it always costs money, gas money to get up there and back, of course, and other expenses. And just want to make a little extra money, just make sure that we have the money that we need, and plus a little extra, what I'm calling quote unquote fun money. So we set up all the stuff that we had in our last garage sale but didn't sell, and we set it up out there and to try to make a little money. And the first 2 days, we did it for 3 days. The first 2 days, especially the second day, it just rained a lot. Never really hard, never like a downpour. Just anywhere between a light mist to I'd call it a heavy drizzle, but just enough to make it annoying. And here's a little plan that we had. I think we did this the last time too, and it worked out pretty good. So we tried it again. We lay things out on tarps like shoes and clothes and stuff. So if we ever need to drag, whether it's the weather or just the end of that day, you can't leave things out overnight. And so if you got to take them in and then bring them out the next night, we're trying to think what's the easiest way to do that. And the way that we came up with was to lay things out on tarps and then to drag them, the tarps and everything on them, back in and out of the garage as we need it. And then, with the rain especially, there was at some point it started raining. We had to have tarps kind of cover things up, and I think we drug some things back in. We had it under, most of the stuff, like the clothes, were underneath a tree. And it wasn't raining hard enough that it would penetrate the trees. It was a light enough rain that as long as the things were underneath the trees, it seemed to be all right. But either way, we did drag things in and out quite a bit. And then the next day, it was hot. Instead of raining, it got hot. And I remember telling Samantha and some of the other customers that came out, and they said, "Oh, too bad it's raining." Yeah, it's not supposed to rain tomorrow, but I imagine at some point when you get out in that 95 or 100 degree heat that we're going to wish it was raining again. But the next day it did get pretty hot outside, and we weren't making much money, but like I said, just sitting out there and letting the customers basically tell us how much they're willing to pay for everything, because going around and putting stickers and price tags on everything, number one, it takes a long time. And number two, the customers never want to stick to the price that you have on there anyway. It's crazy. I was telling my wife, if people just want to have a good deal, they'll go to Walmart to get a good deal. But if they want to get a really good bargain, then they'll go to the Goodwill store or a thrift store or something. But when they go to a yard sale, they don't want a good bargain. They don't want a good deal. They want an absolute steal, and they are just not willing to pay much at all for anything. Pair of shoes, absolutely about as nice as you're going to get secondhand. Short from of buying them straight from the store. Very few scuff, maybe a little scuff on there, almost brand new. Had them out there for 50 cents. People don't want to pay 50 cents. They want to pay a quarter. They talk me down to a quarter. I don't know the mindset of some of these people. They stop at a garage sale and if you're not willing to spend 50 cents on a pair of nice shoes, don't even stop in the garage sale. All right, I'm flying by my seat in my pants. I don't have any notes, but I can see the clock here, and it says that I'm over 10 minutes, and I know, well, I don't know, but I'm pretty confident that is usually where I take my first break. Yes, at the 10-minute mark is where I usually take my first break. So here, for those folks out there in Wichita, Kansas, here is a commercial just for you. Hi, Todd Cook here. Do you like going out on Friday or Saturday nights for some supper and live music, but you're not into the bar scene? Because let's face it, when the alcohol starts to flow, those places can get a little loud and a bit rowdy. Sometimes to the point that it becomes difficult for you to enjoy your food or the music. Do you wish that there was a place that had good food, good music, but a less distracting atmosphere? A place that you can enjoy the food and the music, but still get home at a decent hour? Well, that place does exist, and it's right here in Wichita on the corner of Douglas and Hillside, or 110 South Hillside to be exact. It's called The Kiln. They have live music every Friday and Saturday night starting at 7 p.m. and ending at 9. The Kiln is a Christian-ran, non-alcoholic establishment that operates solely on donations. And they always have great food and great entertainment. And one of the best parts, you don't need a babysitter. You can bring the kids with you. So for more information, contact Mike through the Facebook page. The Kiln, K-I-L-N, and be sure to check it out yourself this Friday or Saturday night, 110 South Hillside, corner of Douglas and Hillside in Wichita. The Kiln, where they are always glad you came. All right, I am back. Are you getting kind of tired of hearing that same commercial over and over again? And the next commercial that I'm going to play later in this show, are you getting tired of hearing it over and over again? Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, that it won't be long. That's all going to change. I'm going to have some new commercials coming up within the next few weeks as well, and some more things that I can't really give the details to just yet, but I have other things planned for this show, and it's going to give a whole new sound, a new feel to this program, and I can't wait to get that started, and hopefully that will be done sometime very soon. All right, I was talking to you about my yard sale. And by the way, if you're listening to this show, most likely you're listening at youtube.com/The Todd Cook Show. I don't know why I have so much trouble getting that out of my mouth. I mean, you remember last week's show or the show before that, I talked about how I'm not going to use the letter W anymore. I'm going to call the letter W we. So instead of www. I'm going to say youtube.com/The Todd Cook Show is where you're listening to this program most likely, but you can also get it on iTunes, or you can go to podomatic.com and find me there as well. My email address is thetoddcookshow@gmail.com. So if you have anything whatsoever you want to ask me, you can go there, and I'll be sure to hear or listen or read your email. All right, let's get back to my yard sale here. Like I said, raining one day. The next day, it was really hot outside, and you get a lot of kind of strange people that come to yard sale, and I think I would fit in that category too. Me and my wife go yard selling on occasion, and I'm sure when I walk up to people's yards, they probably say the same thing. There's a strange-looking fella, but I had one guy in particular that came up, an old beat-up truck and stuff, and I doubt he's listening right now, so I feel pretty safe to tell the story. And I'm not going to say anything too bad about him. But let's just say he liked to talk a little bit more than he liked to buy things. And when you got 4 or 5 other people out there looking at stuff and asking you questions, it's really hard to pay attention to what this one particular guy was saying. And he's like going through all my stuff, and instead of saying, oh, this is kind of nice, or I might be interested in this, he was just flat out saying, I have no interest in this. I don't really like this. This isn't what I'm looking for. No, this isn't interesting me at all. I mean, just right out saying that all my stuff was just stuff that he was not interested in at all. And you think that if that was the case, he could have just walked up there, kind of, did a 360, looked around everywhere, and then just politely walked away. I don't know why he felt the need to come and pick up things and look at this and that. And he was looking through my CDs. No, I don't know that band. No, I don't like these. No, that's not my kind of music. And every now and then he stopped. And at some point, do you have any George Jones CDs? And I was like, no, I think I got a Garth Brooks one here. And I showed that to him. No, I don't like that. Don't like this. Just kept going on and on about the things he didn't like. And I almost at some point said, hey, you just turn around and leave. You don't have to tell me everything you don't like. But for some reason, he felt the need to do that. And I wasn't really going to tell this story, but I guess I will. I had another guy too, and I always try to be really discreet on this show, but I got to at least tell this little story. I had a guy come in, and I don't know any other way to say it. I'll just come out and say it. But he liked to pick his nose, and he did not hide it, even in the slightest. Maybe it had become such a habit to him that he did not even realize he was doing it. But right as he's talking to me, he is picking his nose, and the whole time. And like I said, right as I'm talking to him, just as blatantly as can be, finger in the nose. And at a couple points, I even saw him flick some stuff off. So, and now that I just told that story to you, I kind of wish that I didn't. But it's funny enough. It's one of those little stories that I think people out there might get a kick out of. But I never seen that before, where somebody had a habit that is gross, and they do it so openly that nobody in his entire life must have called him out on it and said, "Hey, you need to stop doing that." Maybe when he was a little kid, nobody ever stopped him. Maybe if he was married, his wife never said anything to him. I don't know, but just as blatantly and as openly and as comfortably as you can, right as he's talking to me, just picking the pick out of his nose, and it was really gross. So there's some interesting things going on at yard sales. Let's see, what else did I have? Here's another little thing. Before we had this yard sale, we had some stuff on Craigslist. And one of the things that we had was an entertainment center with a big TV and some drawers on the bottom and shelves on the top. And I put down on Craigslist, and at some point, somebody contacted me. They sent me a text. And, I put on there, you could email me or call me or text me, but I prefer to be texted. And so they sent me a text saying they were interested in this. And after, I think a couple days of them saying, trying to come up with a time that they could come by, eventually I told them, well, I'm putting it on the yard sale. If you want it, come by and get it. And the funny thing was, I don't know why, but the entire time I'm exchanging texts with this individual, I'm thinking it's a guy. I don't know why. There's nothing. I was just talking about an entertainment center, but I'm just picturing that there's this guy with the pickup truck, and he's going to come out and get this entertainment center. And how surprised was I when this lady shows up Saturday morning, sees it sitting there, and comes over and says she's really interested in it. And I told her, I said, I was just talking to somebody through Craigslist that was really interested. So if you want it, you got to get it today. She goes, oh, well, that was me. She goes, yeah, I've been contacting you, and I'm here to pick it up now. And so it's weird. It's one of those things. For whatever reason, I just pictured that it was a guy, and it turned out to be a lady. We've had baby clothes on there on Craigslist as well, but whenever we're contacted by them, by people interested in baby clothes, it usually is a lady. So maybe for some reason I thought an entertainment center was something a guy would ask about. But looking back on it, no, ladies need furniture too. So who knows what was going through my head when I thought the entire time that I was talking with a guy, but it actually turned out to be a lady. Now we're coming up on 19-minute mark, and so that's really about the time I play the song, I believe. And this is kind of a long song. It's 5 minutes, I believe, so I better get started right now. As I said at the beginning of the show, this is a band called 42 Decibels. The song is called The Real Deal, and if you like AC/DC, you should like this. So here is the song is The Real Deal by 42 Decibels on The Todd Cook Show.
Real
That is 42 decibels with the song The Real Deal on the Todd Cook Show. Look them up on YouTube or Google them. 42 decibels on the Todd Cook Show. That's a national band. They are touring all over the country and all over Europe as well. All right, and that song was brought to you by B&B Towing. B&B Towing is the number you need to call for all your towing needs. Call Cheyenne Brown at B&B Towing. This is for everybody in Wichita, Kansas area, 316-214-4021. You need a tow, you need a jump start, you need a winch out, you need somebody to bring some fuel to you because you ran out of gas, you've been locked out of your vehicle, you need some help to get in, you got an old junk car you got to get rid of, or a junk truck, whatever the vehicle might be, it's sitting in your front driveway and you want to get rid of it, you got to call Cheyenne Brown at B&B Towing. He's a 20-year veteran of the United States Air Force. 316-214-4021. B&B Towing for all your towing needs. You can look him up on Facebook as well. B&B Towing. And with that, I'm going to take my last break of the night and then come back and tell you a little bit about my son and the 4th of July fireworks. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Todd Cook Show. For everybody in Wichita, Kansas, here is another commercial for you.
Hi, everybody. Do you live in the Wichita area? Are you looking for a great place for lunch or dinner? Do you love live acoustic music but don't know where to go? Try the Artichoke Sandwich Bar. It is located on the corner of Broadway and Murdoch in Wichita, and it is a fantastic place to eat and listen to live music. It is located on the corner of Broadway and Murdoch in Wichita, and what goes better with a sandwich than a cold beer? So look up the Artichoke Bar on Facebook today to find out when they are opened and what musical artist is performing next. They just celebrated their 30th year in business, so you know they're doing something right. The Artichoke Sandwich Bar, 811 North Broadway, Wichita, Kansas, where everything is okie dokie artichoke.
All right, it's time for the final segment of the Todd Cook Show. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is my email address. And, you know, as I was listening to that last commercial there, that is the voice of my wife, of course. And I've always wanted to get her down here more often in the studio to participate in this program. And haven't really got around to twisting her arm hard enough to get down here and do that for me. So if you know my wife out there through Facebook or something, hit her up, send her a little message through Facebook. Say, hey, go get on your husband's podcast. We'd like to hear you down there. And I would like to have her on here for at least one segment, maybe an entire show sometime. We'll see. Maybe we can make that happen sometime soon. All right, let's talk about the 4th of July fireworks and about my 2-year-old son. Not exactly enjoying them that much. I think I have the hiccups. I'm not sure, but I think I have the hiccups. So if you start hearing me hiccup, let me apologize ahead of time, but I'll push right on through. Just like those newscasters, they see those funny videos on YouTube where they get the hiccups and they just have to keep on going. I'll just keep on going. Only got 2 minutes left anyway. Anyway, you know, I told you guys a while back that we went to some fireworks show during the Riverfest here in Wichita, and they had these really loud cannons that blew up, that went off right by my son and scared him. And ever since that day, he's been really scared of fireworks. And so I feel like I might have to sue the city of Wichita for making my son scared of fireworks and making it unable for him to enjoy the fireworks. I tried to introduce the fireworks to him slowly, you know, before it was getting dark. And we started with those little snappers, those little, you know, looked like Hershey Kisses, miniature Hershey Kisses that you just throw on the ground and they pop. My dad used to buy a bunch of those for us kids when we were little. And so I bought a whole bunch of those, you know, for my 7-year-old and for my 2-year-old. And I just took him out there and had him sit on my lap and had little poppers throwing them down. I thought maybe, you know, slowly a little pop here, a little pop there, and maybe he'd get used to it and not be scared. But he was still scared. Didn't want anything to do with it. He wouldn't pick the thing up and throw it at all. And it probably didn't help either that my 7-year-old at some point earlier was throwing them at the 2-year-old, you know, down at his feet and making them pop. It definitely probably wasn't helping much either that me and my wife were throwing them at each other. But either way, our 2-year-old son hopefully next year he'll do better. When he was younger, fireworks didn't bother him at all. It was ever since those really loud cannons went off at the Riverfest. Now he's scared of fireworks. And at some point during the yard sale after the 4th of July, with the way our garage is set up, of both the overhead door and the back door is open, the wind comes through there and it'll slam that back door. Just a regular sized door, and it'll just slam it. And it'll be really loud. And so you'd have to pry it open, but if you keep it open, then a dog wants to come through and he'll run out to the road or something, or chase the other customers around. So we try to keep that closed, but on those few occasions when that door would slam really hard, it would scare Jackson, and he thought it was fireworks going off, and he'd start running, fireworks, and get all scared again. So I'm worried now that anytime there's a loud noise, any kind of a loud bang, whether it's a balloon popping or a car backfiring or whatever the case might be, every time he hears a loud bang, he's gonna get scared and start crying, all because of those stinking cannons at their Wichita River Festival. I think that's it, folks. I already went over 30 minutes. How about that? Flying by the seat of my pants, hardly no notes whatsoever, just a few little short sentences I wrote down, and I got through an entire show. Maybe I'll start doing that more often. Who needs notes? I got everything I need. I've said this once before. Everything I need for the show is right here. In my head. That's me hitting my head. Ow. I won't do that again. All right. This episode of the Todd Cook Show is officially over. So I'm going to end it right there. Thank you very much for listening. Tune back in next week for episode 2-9 of the Todd Cook Show. And there will be a week coming up when I'm on vacation that I'm not sure. I should still have a show. I might be one day late on one of them, but I should still have shows on that week that I'm going to be gone. So make sure you tune in every week. Check me out on Facebook, and you'll know when the next show is. That's all you have to do is keep up with me on Facebook, and you'll know when the next show has been posted. That's all. Tune in next week. I'll talk to you later. And you guys listen. All right, let me do this again. Tune in next week, and I'll talk. You listen.